And we're back Tuesday, Stripe Show Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day as the PGA Tour continues to roll on. Let's just take a quick gander back to last weekend. Sam Burns, my man, got his second win on the PGA Tour. He's in the field this week. Don't put it past him to go back-to-back and make it 3 wins. The guy is on fire, playing great golf. Get that putter heated up a little bit more, and he might just rout this field at the Shriners Children's Open. Great tournament, TPC Summer, and well, it's Vegas week this week and next week. No better guy to have on than the man himself. Look at him back from Baja Mar, Beatin The Bookie. How you doing? Hopefully you had a better weekend than Urban Meyer did there at Baja Mar.
I don't know if I had more fun than he did, but I certainly didn't get in any trouble, so it was a better weekend. And I'm happy to be on with the Ryder Cup celebrity host, Travis Fulton.
Yeah,
I'm off a big Seahawks victory against the 49ers. How you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. Of course, the Seahawks and the 49ers are a big rivalry. It was really heated back in the day. It's tailored off a little. Partly due because the division is so tough. The NFC West is just, it's brutal. These guys are going to beat each other up. We get it back at it Thursday night against the Rams, but it always feels good to beat the Niners, man. I mean, it's just, that feels great. We're 2-2. We have a ways to go. We have holes, but you're only 4 games in. So much can change, as you know, in the NFL. I know you made some money on the Pats game, Brady going back. As you always do, you seem to be on the right side of these NFL games too.
Yeah, you know what was crazy? Saturday night at the craps table at Baja Mar was Eddie DeBartolo, like the 49ers owner. Kind of like weird. When you have a game the next day, but he was there, at the sportsbook bar. So that was a little interesting. I picked up a fantastic craps run Sunday night before the Patriots game started. So it was nice to make your entire trip on a 2-hour craps run. So that was fun, Patriots game, the rain kind of killed it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the rain did, but, not surprised. Brady goes in ones up Belichick there. 1917 was the final score. Tell me how you play craps. I mean, there's a lot of ways to play it. Are you like placing the 6 and the 8? Are you coming out all the time and getting on the numbers? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I play the pass line. I don't play don't pass. I think don't pass is for like cowards. I mean, that's how every pass line player feels. How you can just play don't pass and just hope somebody, shoots a 7. I can't stand that. So I always play the pass. I play the inside numbers, 5, 6, 8, 9. And I'll place those like right after the point is set. And I always like to play. I have a strategy where it's like if the point is 5 or the point is 9, I play hard 4 or hard 10. So if I hit those hard ways, say I start with a 50 on it. If I hit it for 50, I'll press it to 100. And that, we had the hard 4 hit, 3 straight times on the table on Sunday night. So it was a nice table, and I keep pressing my bets until I get up to about 150 on the points. You just kind of get that feeling when it's been like long enough. Yeah. Where like maybe the bad number could be coming. So maybe I'll take my bets down a little bit. But I've just pretty much been doing the same strategy for a few years. And I didn't, when I first met my wife in 2008, I had no idea how to play craps. Her family was a big craps family. They'd go to Atlantic City every Thanksgiving. First time I saw craps, I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but it took me a couple of times, learn how to play, and now it's my favorite game. So
I can remember in college we were playing in Northern California in a college event. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, it was by Modesto and kind of in that area. And on the way back, we went through Reno, and one of my good buddies on the team, we were standing there in craps, and I've known how to play craps for a long time. And he's like, I want to learn how to play. I was like, all right, give me a couple $100. All right, So we were in, together $400, and he's like looking, he's like, okay, so what happened? Like 10 minutes. I'm like, hey, give me a couple $100, like it can go quick too,
Yeah,
he's like, I haven't even learned anything. I've lost 200. I'm like, well, you gotta pay attention. The game moves fast. Anyway, that's kind of craps, right? Like it can go like that, but then, you get out there and you start hitting the numbers and repeating the numbers. That's pretty much how I play it too. Get the point, play the inside, and then I'll play the hard ways like that. But anyway,
I like the dice in my hands.
Shriners
I like to shoot.
Children's Open, TPC Summerlin, a place I've spent quite a bit of time at through my journey with the tour academies. We had an academy at TPC Las Vegas right down the road. Nice area. Love these back-to-back weeks out there. Summerlin, a golf course that you're going to see here now, guys, getting into the 20s, well under par. Defending champ, Martin Laird. Yeah, Martin Laird won this back in 2020. Kevin Na back in 19. Bryson, younger Bryson, won it in 18. Cantlay in 17. You have to go back to 2015. Always a blast from the past. Smiley Hoffman won here back in 2015. All these guys well into the 20s, except Cantlay. That was a tough year. He actually won it at 9 under. But we're going to have to make some birdies. This course, the par fives are easy. These guys are going to tear up the par fives. There's 3 of them. The par fours are easy. Par threes are tough. Par threes at this golf course are tough. Number 5's brutal. It's 4th hardest hole. Number 8's brutal. 2nd hardest hole. Number 17's tough. 3rd hardest hole. So you got 3 of the 4 toughest holes historically are the par threes. So they're going to make their hay on the par fives. There's 3 of them. And then on the par fours. And I think, like when you look at this course historically, and I've played it, I think you're going to see guys hitting a lot of greens. Obviously, proximity tends to be a little closer here. The ball goes a long ways. So they're going to have a lot of ample opportunities. I do think it's a little more difficult to get up and down on this course. Sometimes I find myself pushing the short game down on the list. I'm probably going to elevate it here because I do think you will need a little bit of short game. But all in all, you're going to hit greens. You're going to hit it close. You're going to hit the ball far here. So you're going to have to make some putts to get into those 20s if you want to win. So I want to get into this right away here, and I want to get to the top level of pricing here. And the way we do it, we'll go down each level. We'll give you our thoughts on who we're looking at each level, who we like, who we're fading. And we'll touch just about all players. I would not all the players as we get down in the 6s and 7s, but up top here and into the middle, we're going to give you a lot of good advice. And Beat the Bookie, we start up top here. There's Koepka. First time we've seen him since the Ryder Cup. He's 11,100. There's my boy Burns at 10.9, Victor 10.6, Abraham Answer 10.4, Webb 10,200, and Zalatoris at 10.1. Take me to a couple names you're liking here up top.
Well, the first, that sticks out for me is obviously Sam Burns, coming off his victory last week. He's been one of the most consistent, hottest golfers the last 13 months on tour. He's been absolutely on fire. I know we talked about him a lot last season, so we've played him a lot. So I like Sam Burns. This is a great course for him too, I think. I don't like Hovland. I'm just not sold on the guy. I think he's overpriced, especially for his results. I mean, he seems to get top 20s, but you see him shoot that, one really good round, 2 poor rounds, then maybe Sunday he has a good round. So he's just not throwing together 4 good rounds, very consistently. Answer, he screwed me a few times last year. So, in this price range, I'd probably go Burns and Simpson. I think Simpson, he had a little time off, so I think he's a little fresh. This is a great course for Simpson. He seems to love these kind of like TPC courses. So I like Burns and Simpson in this price range.
Now, one thing I would mention with Hovland, he works with Jeff Smith, who's the director of instruction at this course. So he does spend a lot of time there, at least probably in the last year. I think they've been together for a year. So I'm curious if Hovland has been spending a little more time out on this golf course. I think your concerns are noted here. What's holding Hovland back is around and on the greens. You start getting into birdie fest. Can he maintain, right, with the putter for 4 rounds to win, because at 10,600, that's what you're looking for here.
Yeah.
I think Zalatoris is interesting. He tied for 5th here last year. I'm starting to see a little bit of an uptick in Willie Z's putting, 3 of the last 4 weeks in the positive. So I think I'm going to find myself playing Willie Z here. And usually when we get into the 20s, I tend to back off, as I did a little bit last week. I really thought about it, but he putted good. His ball striking wasn't quite up to where it was. I think I'm going to play Willie. And I think your thoughts on Webb are spot on. I mean, he's finished in the top 20 here the last 4 years. And I think there's a reset button here for Webb. I do think he was hurt, but I do think he hit his driver terrible last year. So perhaps a reset button for him, coming back to a place that in the field, when you look at it, no one has gained more strokes than Webb Simpson at this property in the last 5 seasons. So Webb likes this place, and he keeps the ball in front of him off the tee. I think you're going to play. So yeah, I think for me, I think Willie Z, Burns, and Simpson are probably my guys. Who knows with Koepka? You know, you get into these mid-tier events, he might show up with one eye closed because he just doesn't care. Who knows, right?
Especially in Vegas, I mean, he likes to throw back those Michelob Ultras, so he might drink a few this week. But I agree with you with Zalatoris also. And what's it going to take? I mean, what is it going to take for Zalatoris to get a picture on the DraftKings app? He has an American flag picture right now. Everybody else has their picture. He just doesn't. He hasn't had a picture for like a year on their app. I don't understand. Why doesn't he have a picture like on the,
I thought I wondered the same thing. It's like, what does this guy got to do? Is he actually got to win?
Did he request an American flag? I mean, maybe he did. But
the win's coming, right? I think with Will, like, he came out, we knew he could ball strike. I think he putted better than he normally does in the first few months. And then the putter kind of chilled and he kind of became it. But now it's like, okay, I see this little uptick here.
Yeah.
And you're going to get round 2 of Will here. He's played the courses, so it's like, okay, the win, it's coming. Like, I can just sense it. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's coming here in the fall series. Uptick in putting, T5 here last year, hitting the ball reasonably well. I think if he it just feels like maybe the pieces could come together this week for him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be sprinkling him. I think Answer is probably the only other one that I would consider. We haven't seen him in a while. He has finished 4th here twice in the last 3 years, but I think I like the other guys better. All right, let's go to 9,000. A lot of guys to consider here, starting with Louis. His putter has cooled down a little bit. He's kind of come back to the field.
He's due for regression.
Louis was putting like Spieth there that year for a long time. He's coming back to the fray a bit. Scheffler, first time we've seen him since the big win on Sunday against Rahm. He's in the field. Matsuyama is at 95. Scheffler's 97. English, 93. Sanjay, 92. Kevin Na has won here, 91. And Siwoo Kim has played well here. 2 top 15s in the last 3 years. He's at 9,000. Anyone in the 9s interest you?
Well, of course, I like Scotty Scheffler. Been a big Scotty Scheffler guy for the last year. As far as Louis, I think this season, we're going to see Louis regress a little. What we saw with his putter last season, I mean, it's impossible to keep that pace up. Just kind of like Cantlay in those last few tournaments. Like, they'll probably never putt like that again in their entire career, to be honest. I think Louis, he's due to come back to earth this season. So I can see Louis having a poor season. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see by the end of the season Louis down at like 8,000. So it's just way too high for Louis right now. So Scotty, Harris English, very consistent last season. Probably one of my favorite golfers on tour. He always brings it. He's always going to show up. He's always pretty consistent. When that putter's on, he can be amazing. Then, like you said, Siwoo Kim. He seems to play well at every TPC. So probably go with, Scheffler, English, Siwoo Kim between those 3. Not really big on Kevin Na. I mean, he screwed me at the fortnight. I had a max play on him to finish in the top 20. He was looking good the first round. The wheels absolutely fell off in round two. Didn't even make the cut. So I'm low on Kevin Na right now. And Sungjae, this is a guy that like we talked about before. He goes to 64 one round, 72 the next, 65 the next round, and closes with a 73. So he's very inconsistent. He's one of the best golfers, but he just can't put together 4 consistent rounds. So yeah, Scheffler, English, and Siwoo for me.
Check this out with Louis. All right, I'm going to take you back here with Louis' season. I'm going to go all the way back to August 23, 2020, okay? The Northern Trust. So he was coming off a tournament at the PGA where he lost strokes, all right? So starting in August 23 of 2020, he gained strokes in putting all the way until August 29, 2021. He never lost a stroke putting for a year on the PGA Tour. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that is so amazing. I'm going to write down this timestamp because
he will never do it again.
That will be one hell of a rip. I mean, a solid year, never lost a stroke. And how many tournaments did he play in a year, right?
A lot.
25, somewhere in there. So he loses 2.5 strokes at the BMW, loses 0.5 at the Tour Championship. So he's coming back to earth, and you can see this trend has been happening. So yeah, he's back to normal, and he finished top 20 here last year.
How does that happen? What goes on? Like, how do you crush it for that long? Then you start losing. Like what happens? I don't know.
Well, I mean, he lost 2.5 at BMW, which had to feel like he basically forgot how to putt. I mean, that just happens. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's quite the heater. I mean, Louis historically, you go through his career, has been, he's certainly a better than average putter. I do think he's become a better putter as he's gotten older. But that was just an epic run. I mean, he had some incredible tournaments, +5, +6, +4.5, +7 at the US Open. I mean, a lot of 6s and 7s. I mean, a major heater of putting. So yeah, I think Louis, I'm probably going to fade. I mean, Scheffler is interesting to me. I mean, he really is. He hasn't played good here. He's played here twice, made the cut once. And I don't know. I think I'm probably going to move away from Scheffler. I'll probably move away from Matsuyama. I do think Harris English is playing good golf, although not my favorite venue for him. You can have Sungjae. He's not for me. I'll take my lumps when he does play well here like he did last year at T13. I don't love anybody in the 9s. I got to be honest with you. I look at the 9s and I'm like, man, really? Okay. Yeah. I have a hard time wrapping my arms around Scheffler. I don't know why. I just have a hard time, and part of it too, for me was, I was the one out there touting Burns over Scheffler for the Ryder Cup, right? I was pick Burns. He's the man. And Scheffler played beautiful, right?
Yeah.
He played great. And then right after that, what happens? Burns is like, oh yeah, check this out. So it just shows you how deep the Americans are, right? I mean, you could have put Burns in there and I think Burns would have beat. I really do. I think he would have played just as well.
I think they would have even won with Kevin Kisner in there.
Yeah, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Boy.
Yeah, let's pump the brakes. I like Kevin Kisner. I just didn't want him at Whistling Straits, for crying out loud. I mean, let's face it. If Kevin would have been there, we probably would have got 20 points.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not taking anybody 9s. You can have them. The hell with them. I'm going heavy.
I thought we had to.
Huh? No, we don't have to. Well, if I had to pick one in the 9s, I'd pick English.
Yeah, me too.
I would take English. Although, he missed a cut here last year. I just think English, He's a much better player right now than he was a year ago. There's no doubt about that. Much better player and riding high confidence-wise.
Yeah.
All right. I do like some guys in the 8,000s. So we'll get to that here. Starting with Paul Casey, who missed a cut here last year, 8,900. Corey Connors, 88. Kokrak, 87. There's Reed, 86. Sign me up, baby. He's never played here, but he's going to be ready to go. Tringali, 85. See, Tringali's in the Sunjai for me, like automatic nose.
Me too. That's how I am.
Adam Scott, 84. Neiman, 83. Sign me up. Wolf, 82. Sign me up. Hoffman, 81. Usually sign me up, but I'll pass here. EVR, 8,000s. I'll kick us off. I like Reed. This feels like a good spot for Patrick Reed. Never played, chomping at the bit, healthy. He's got some things to say, improve right now. I think, he's coming off that Ryder Cup, and trust me, he wasn't waving pom-poms after they won. And I think now it's about, let's get focused. We're healthy. Off we go. Let's get back on the President's Cup team. And it starts right now at a golf course that I think will be just fine for him.
Yeah, I think this course plays well for Patrick Reed also. And like you said, he's well rested. He's healthy. He watched that Ryder Cup, without playing in it. And, that had to just anger him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he probably still wanted to make it. But he didn't play. But, now he's healthy. It's a new season. So maybe he's ready for some vengeance. The 8,000s, I'll first go with Corey Connors. I think Connors is ready. We saw him break out a little bit last season. I think he's ready. He's on the verge of becoming a superstar golfer. He's just very consistent. He plays a lot of events. I think he can really take a leap this season and have a great year. So I like Connors to finish in the top 10 at this tournament. I think the course sets up well for him. And if he's putting, if he can consistently putt at this course, I think he can really have a good week. Like you said, Tringali, that guy is just no-go for me.
Yeah.
Ever since the PGA Championship last year, I took him. I think he was 11 over in 3 holes, and that was the end of that. So Tringali, no-go for me. Adam Scott, he just doesn't really light the fire for me anymore. So I like Connors, Reed. Matthew Wolff is a wild card. This is a guy who can win this tournament, or he can come in last place. You just really don't know which Matthew's going to show up. So, last season we saw he showed up half the time. He didn't show up half, the other half. There was whispers about him maybe not liking to play golf anymore. So, going to this event shows me that, he wants to start the season off on a good foot. So, maybe this is a place Matthew could come in and, finish top 5. He's also one of those guys that can play great for 3 rounds and then just fade in the final round. So I think this is a good price for Wolff at 8,200 because he's a guy that can win it, So there's not many of those guys in this price range, but he is one of them. So
I think he was at 85 last week, and I played him, and he finished 17th. Didn't play bad. I really like Matthew Wolff here. I think this is a good spot. He finished tied for second here last year, for crying out loud. So it's a good spot. I think it seems, I don't know. I know his coach very well, but we don't talk about that state with Matthew, but I do think he's doing a little bit better. And I think being closer to the West Coast right now and all that all plays in his favor. I think Neiman's, you got to take a look at Neiman here for sure. Seems like just a place that, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to hit a lot of greens, and the proximity tighter to the hole. That just screams Joaquin Neiman. And I think Kokrak's interesting, although his record hasn't been great here. The thing with Connors that you mentioned, Connors reminds me a lot of Victor Hovland.
Yeah.
It's gosh, they can wear you out with the driver and the irons, but then it's just it can be a slow death watching him around the greens and putting sometimes,
But he's a lot cheaper though, so
he is.
it makes it more bearable. Like he's the Canadian Hoffman.
Yeah, I would
For
definitely
Ne-
take Connors over Hovland for sure at that price.
I just can't do Neiman because he has that unibrow. I can't get over that. So anybody who has a unibrow, it's automatic fade for me. So just got to pass on Neiman there.
You know who would be fun at the craps table is Patrick Reed.
Maybe
I think
his
he'd
wife.
be fun. See, I think Reed away, like by himself, hanging. I think he'd be like getting on a little runner. That's just
you know who I think would be fun at the craft sale after a few beers? Kokrak. He looks like he can put down he can put beers down.
Yeah, Kokrak just kind of kicking Bud heavy. You think?
Yeah, he's drinking the heavy stuff.
The Bud heavy, maybe like a I don't know what like a Camel cigarette, just hanging like halfway out.
Marlboro like in his ear. I could see Neiman drinking Zima at the craft table. He doesn't seem like a big party animal. So
Zima, they even make those anymore?
I don't think so. But and another guy I think could smash down some beers. Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah.
They look like they can put a few away.
I don't think Hoffman's going to be there. I think there's a chance Kokrak will be, though. Although I think Kokrak's a wine guy. I've seen him sipping wine with Perez a lot. Yeah, I think Kokrak will some Bud Heavies, a little marble in the ear. Zima. I haven't heard that in a long time. That's some funny stuff there. All right, so give me Patrick Reed and give me Matthew Wolff in the 8,000s, and then I'll probably consider and sprinkle a little bit of Kokrak. And I have no idea why, because he has no history there. But yet I feel like Kokrak's the better player. I think he's a much better player now than he was. This is when he went on his run. You remember, he won the CJ Cup next week. So this is kind of when he started his run last year and won twice. So I'll play a little bit of Kokrak. All right.
If he can stay out of the bunker, if stay out of the bunkers, I mean, if Kokrak can stay out of the bunker, then he's good. But if he hits those bunkers, forget it.
Absolutely. All right. 79s, Aaron Wise, Russell Henley. Aaron Wise spends a lot of time at TPC Summerlin. Doesn't show because he's missed the cut the last 2 years. And Henley's interesting, isn't he? Like he's one of those guys you look at him, strokes gain approach off the chart. Great ball striker. But then it's just up and down with like the rest of the game, right? I mean, he's been okay here. He's made the cut 3 of the last 4 times he's played. I'll probably pass because my boy, Mito Pereira, 78. Sign me up.
He's another guy with no picture. Just a flag of Chile.
Mito Pereira is good. As bullish as I was on San Burns when he came out, I'm right there equally with Mito Pereira.
Yeah, I mean, Mito, he's a good player. He's young. So, in a place like Vegas, I'm going to prefer those younger guys over the older guys.
Okay.
Like I'll take Mito over Kevin Streelman. Because Mito, I feel like Mito is like, he's happy to be playing full-time on a tour this year. He's excited. Or Streelman, I like Streelman, but he's getting older. Those gray hairs are popping in more and more. So like his excitement level for each event, we just don't know what it is. So I'll take a younger guy like Mito Pereira, even a Maverick McNeely. These young guys who are hungry to make a name for themselves on tour. I'll take them over some of the older guys right now.
Yeah, McNeely's. Yesterday I talked about some of the names that have kind of popped the first 2 weeks for me and that I find myself writing their name down a little bit. And Mito is first and foremost and has been the number one as that next generation player coming out. McNeely's interesting. I think he's got a game that, he played very well in the summer there, was finishing, right around top 20, top 30 consistently. He's a good driver of the ball. I think his short game is getting better. I think his putting's getting better. I think his approach game that's where he needs to get a little more polished. Missed the cut here last year, but he's a guy that I'm looking at. I like Mav. I see improvement, and I like that. Like, I see a kid that's mature, went to Stanford, and then as I've watched him kind of grow over the last couple of years, you can see steady growth in just about every part of the game.
Yeah,
I don't think he's an elite iron player yet, but if he can become more of that elite iron player, I think Maverick McNeely will win a handful of times on the PGA Tour because he's a great driver of the golf ball. And when you can counter that driver out there with great iron play, I mean, you're just going to be flooded with opportunities.
And when you grow up with the golf course in your backyard,
that helps.
In like $100 million house, I mean, you better be good at golf because you can get all the instruction you need from like a young age. So
yeah.
Yep. So
That's
true.
true.
I mean, once he puts it together and just becomes more consistent,
yeah,
I think he can really do well. And he seems to do well out west for some reason. I know he's from California. Yeah, he plays well out west. He played good in. Did he play well in Tahoe? I think.
He was second at the AT&T, fourth at the RBC Heritage, and then second at the Fortinet Championship.
Yeah. So and he should have won that. I mean, he should have won that too. He doubled. I think it was on 16 he doubled, and on 18 he was down 3, and he eagled. So I was thinking it was over. I didn't even, I was thinking it was over before he even went to 18. Then he eagled, which brought him back to within 1. But I thought that eagle on 18 at the Fortinet was like a little gutty for him. He kind of went for it.
Yep.
He was still trying to win. He just didn't say, "Oh, I double bogeyed this hole, I'm done." He still came back and tried to eagle. So I like that, and I think he wants to prove a lot of people wrong. That are like, I've seen a lot of people like, "Oh, this kid's dad's worth $1 billion. How much does he really want it?" Like, he hasn't gone through any adversity or anything in his life. These people I would see on Twitter, but a guy like that has even higher expectations. People expect him to do better than kids who didn't come up in as fortunate situations as he did, and he wants to prove those people wrong. So I think he has a chip on his shoulder as well. And he, who doesn't want to bet on a guy named Maverick? It's a cool. I like the name Maverick. He's kind of like a badass.
Great movie.
It is. It's coming out soon. Top Gun 2, right?
Yeah, that's a great movie. I love Maverick. I think he's a good kid. I enjoy listening to his interviews. I see growth. I see improvement. And I think he's going to, I don't know if I like him here. I think so far the names that we've mentioned, Mito is my top guy. And then Russell Henley's probably my second. As we continue on, Harman's played good here at 7,600. Harman's probably in the 7,000s has played the best here. He's got 3 top 20s in the last 5 years. I have a hard time, and part of that too, I think, is what I mentioned with the short game. I think this is a course, the craftiness around the greens comes into play, and Harman is right there when it comes to that. His iron game can be a little spotty. Harman's kind of another one of those I have a hard time wrapping my arms around. I'll probably pass. Leishman, believe it or not, first time he's ever played her at 76.
Yeah, I mean, Harman is one of those guys that if I take him in my lineup, he'll miss the cut. So whenever I take Harman, he misses the cut for me. So I'll probably pass on Harman. I'll pass on Leishman. There's one. No Gooch for me.
Can I convince you of Patton Kizzire, who's played here at 7,500?
He has. Kizzire had a decent season last year.
Yeah.
Ryan Palmer's right below him. Palmer started last season hot, was on fire to start the 2020 season, and then just kind of fell off a little bit. And then there's a golfer below him that I don't know if we thought 3 months ago we'd see at this price range. Tigala played well last week.
Yeah, he did.
I think he was in the lead after a few rounds. So another up and coming golfer, another golfer with the American flag as his picture. So I'm kind of thinking maybe this is maybe the flag for the picture is like a Corn Ferry thing,
Could be.
They haven't had their picture approved yet by PGA. I don't know, but Zalatoris, I know last year had a picture. This year he doesn't. So, Tigala, I thought he's American. Yeah, he's American. He's from California, isn't he?
Yeah, he's American.
He's from California, right?
Yeah, he went to Pepperdine. Yep.
The Waves. My friend went there.
He went to Pepperdine. Big kid,
very good
6'3", hits it like 315, and he's kind of he's a little bit of a throwback. He's kind of got an unusual. He's kind of chases it down the line. It's not like cookie cutter type of action. I mean, I like him. First time here, struggled on the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. Hopefully, he doesn't like late nights and a few drinks, Zimas and stuff, because that's not the place to.
If he went to Pepperdine, I don't think he likes late nights because I have my one friend Kevin, one of my good friends. He went to Pepperdine, and great kid, 4.0 GPA. I mean, his freshman year they found a bong in his dorm room. He got thrown out of school. His dad was very pissed, to say the least. But after 6 months, they took him back. I went out there and visited him a few times. Very nice. I mean, the campus, it's like Malibu, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, beautiful campus. So if anything, he's probably more laid back, but he's still a youngster. So a lot of these youngsters, I mean, a lot of these kids, they don't, they're in the lead in these big tournaments and they're going to the weekend. They don't know what to do with themselves. I mean, look at Russell Henley, 4-shot lead going to the final round. Even a veteran like that doesn't know what to do with the lead himself, crafts it away. So, I mean, it's hard to hold the lead in these events. We haven't seen, before Cantlay at the Tour Championship, which is like, I don't know if we can count this as a wire-to-wire winner because he didn't have the best score. But we haven't really seen many wire-to-wire winners on the PGA in 2 years. That just shows you how good these golfers are getting. Like, no lead is safe.
Yeah.
Tigala, that's definitely a wild card, but at 7,500, that's a little too high for me to go for him right now. So it's probably not in my price range. I'd rather take a veteran guy like Griot, 7,400. He might be a little more consistent. Seamus Power, another up and coming guy, but he misses the cut half the time. So you just never know which one's going to show up. And
I like Seamus, but he seems to be kind of a little bit on the down right now with him. Kisner, 74.
I could see, I could see him playing well at this course, not terribly long. He's coming off that chip. Maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder too. He didn't get picked for the Ryder Cup team. Maybe he's got, Barstool Riggs in his corner telling him, hey, you're going to win. You're going to win this weekend. So maybe he comes out and does that, If I see
picked for the Ryder Cup, he didn't get picked to come on College Game Day to pick, that was Harris English. I mean, he's just getting slighted at every single opportunity. I mean, we kind of browsed over Kazire. I do think for those listening, I think when you look in the middle here, the guys that have had the most success at this course, Kazire is number one. Him and Harmon in the sevens have had the most success. Palmer's played okay here. I just can't rally with Griot in a putting fest. Kisner, I'll probably pass. Ortiz, I'll pass. You start getting down here now with Fowler. There's Ricky at 73. Really curious to see Ricky at 73. And I'm really curious to see Cameron Davis at 73 if he can get to some consistency, because we know Cameron Davis can play. He won.
Yeah.
But he's got to start showing some consistency, I think, as well with his game. He really is up and down. Fowler has been more down. Those are two interesting names for me this year because Ricky, I mean, no more excuses on swing changes. Like, you've had plenty of time. Where are you at? Can you come out and be relevant again? And I think with Davis, can you be more consistent?
Yeah.
I'll probably pass on both those guys. I'll probably pass on Schwartzel. You start getting down now. Let me give you these names in the 72s. Pat Perez, is going to enjoy himself here over the next couple of weeks.
He'll have at least one. Perez will shoot at least like a 66 for one round at least.
Perez has played good here.
Pat
Pat, no, not a surprise either, right? Pat Perez playing good in Vegas, not a surprise. He finished third in 2020. So Luke List has played pretty good here. I mean, I like Luke List here. 72. He missed the cut last year, but he had 3 top 20s before that.
Yeah.
Bramlett, guy that I'll be looking at this year as well. Bramlett, interesting player, 72. There's Stallings, 72. I'll pass. Martin Laird, out of nowhere, wins this thing last year. Damon, Merritt, Sink, Rasmus Højgaard, Lucas Glover. I like Lucas here.
Yeah.
Lucas Glover at 7,000. Sign me up.
I mean, how did Martin Laird win this last year? That's just what I don't get. I mean,
I have no idea.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the rest of his season. I mean, you're just like, you win this and you're 43rd, 69th, 38th, 125th, 61st, 23rd, 53rd, 92nd, 104, 78, 57, 75, 76. And those aren't scores. Those are places. So I can guarantee you he's not going to win this year. But this is kind of like, he does very familiar with the course. So I could see him making the cut. But I just can't see him winning.
I think in the low 7s, the wild card here is Højgaard.
Like
he can make a lot of birdies. He's coming over from the European Tour. So
I like Poulter. 7,000.
He's a guy that no one knows a lot about. I think when I look at the bottom, because you're always going to fill in here in the 7s, I like Glover here. He's played very well at this golf course. I like Munoz. I'm becoming a big fan of him. And I'll probably throw Rasmus in there too. I think he's a little bit of a wild card that could do some damage here and make a lot of birdies at this course.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Højgaard. I mean, he won the Omega European Masters. He got 18th at the Italian Open. He got 3rd at the Kazoo Classic on the Euro. So he's a guy that he's won before.
Yeah.
So I prefer guys who have won before because they know what it tastes like. They did something well to win. So they have that kind of in their DNA. So yeah, he's definitely a guy that at 7,100. I think he has more of an upside than, say, he's a younger guy. He's still trying to make a name for himself. Then you have Jan Poulter, who's older. He plays a ton of events. Probably loves going to Vegas, So yeah, I like Højgaard at this level. And another guy, at this level that I just don't know which one's going to show up is, Stallings. He can have those great rounds. He can shoot a 63 and then come back with a 74. So I'm just looking for Stallings to maybe put it together more this year. Damon, another really nice guy. He has one of the best stories on tour. Stuart Sink, how much does he have left in the gas tank?
Yeah.
He had a great year last year, but he fell off hard the last couple months of the season. So how much does Stuart Sink have in the tank? Troy Merritt, another golfer that can come out with a 63 and then just totally fall off the map. So there's a lot of golfers that I look to, could possibly be a first round leader, Merritt, Sink, Stallings, like that, but then they just fall off for the rest of the tournament. So
Stallings can't maintain that putter. That's the issue with him. And there's a lot of guys in the bottom 7s. I got to tell you, I like Mito up top. But I can come off Henley pretty easy and come down here to the bottom of these 7s and feel very good about Rasmus, feel very good about Lucas, feel very good about Munoz, and I feel very good about Norlander. I was on him last week, finished 4th. I like Norlander going in. I'll take him again this week.
And you know what? I hate to bring this name up before you because I know he's your boy. But Garrett Higo, 6,900?
Yeah.
They're doing that to him? that's...
Well, let's get to the 6s. Let's give them 2 names each here in the 6s. But and I think let's start with Higo, right? Because Higo is what's happening to the European Tour, right? And I said this last week, took some beef for it, that the European Tour is becoming basically Corn Ferry Tour Europe. That's what it's becoming.
Corn Ferry West.
Corn Ferry West. That's what it is. And I don't say that to be, I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just that all of their top players, when you look at the guys that are representing the Ryder Cup team, they all live over here, right? And they're playing over here. And you have to go down to like number 10, number 11, number 12 on their list, the Richard Blands of the world, to see, you're going to bring the black cat in, to see, where was I going with this? Oh, so you have to go down to 10, 11, and 12. And those are the guys that are playing the European Tour full time, not Rory, Rahm, right? They're over here playing full time. So here comes Garrick Higo, young guys, won 3 times. He comes over to the United States, gets some starts, wins at Palmetto. He's not going back. Or maybe he is. I don't know. I don't think he is. I don't think he's going to go back. These guys are going to stay over here and they're going to play. So I don't know. I just feel like that what the European Tour and getting more aligned with the PGA Tour, I think it's a good move, but I do think the European Tour in time is going to be just a developmental tour, just like the Corn Ferry Tour that's feeding the PGA Tour.
That's basically, that's what Koepka did. Koepka was a developmental player on the European Tour. I think it's good for these younger guys to go over there because they have a much better chance of winning over there, and they're going to get real paychecks. So all of these younger guys, it's all about the money. Really, how many of the top guys? I was on the For the People podcast, and we were talking about how, those were 2 PGA golfers right there on the podcast, and they said like it's tough for younger guys because only like the top 20 guys in the world make money, with their equipment deals. So a lot of these younger guys, it's smart to go to Europe, make some money, maybe get a couple wins under your belt. And then come to the United States after you've polished your game up more. Like Higo, we've seen him win. He can be great. You actually had him when he won his first tournament, in his first tournament here. So, that was good.
That was he was playing really good. It was a good course for him.
Hard course too. Nobody ever played it. Nobody knew anything about it. He did well. Look at this. When we're in the 6,000s, I'm just like, how far has Francesco Molinari fallen off?
Yeah.
This guy couldn't lose a few years ago. He's on fire until he hits the tree and into the water at the Masters. Ever since then, his game has just gone completely to crap.
Yep.
So we know that he's a guy who can win, but I might like Eduardo over Francesco at this point,
Well, he's fallen. How far has Matt Kuchar fallen? He's way down there. Trey Molinex is interesting. He's down there at 66. Played good last week.
ZJ.
I've been making some hay down here in the 7s and the 6s as of late. And I think when I look at it, 6s aren't quite as, they're not speaking to me as clearly as usual. I think Scott Piercy is probably the one that, if I just take the name out of it, and I'm looking statistically, is probably the guy that I like the most here. Piercy has played this course a ton. He also works with Jeff Smith.
I got a name.
He's probably, I hate to put the name Scott Piercy out there, but he's probably the guy that I would go with here. That Hayden Buckley, it could be really special too. He's 66, one of the rookies. I'm kind of looking at him at this place. I think he's very interesting to me at 66. I'll probably be playing him a little bit. Who's your name? Watney?
I like KH Lee.
Mr. TPC?
Yeah. If you look at him, he won the Byron Nelson. He got 6th at the 3M. He got 24th at the Wyndham. He got 12th at the BMW. So he's playing some great golf. I'm kind of surprised he's down at 67, to be honest, because I would definitely take him over Piercy, Jones, Neesmith, ZJ. I feel like ZJ can grind out that top 40 finish. But as far as winning, I think KH Lee gives you a chance to finish in the top 5, top 10, top 20. And that's really like what you're looking for at this 6,000 level. Realistically, any guy you take in the 6,000, you're just praying they make the cut. But I think,
sure.
I think KH Lee gives you a chance to, win it. Especially like you said at the TPC. So, KH Lee, I'd probably go with at this level.
All right.
Kuchar, I mean, he's getting up there in age. Same with Snedeker. It's either
Kuchar
hit or miss.
Just bunts it out there.
Not one top 10, last year for Kuchar. That's crazy.
I think
Chesson Hadley.
I'll go with Hank Lebioda, 6,300.
Yeah. Florida State's finest,
I think 60, Lebioda, we haven't seen him in a while. But Hank Lebioda was playing some really good golf, really coming together. I like his game for this course too. 6,300. Yeah, I like Hank Lebioda at 63. And then I just had my computer just switch. Hold on a second here. And then if I had to go all the way, if I had to give you one down even lower than that, I think I would take Mark Hubbard at 61. Those are 61 Hubbard, 63 Lebioda. I could see myself going to Hadley here a little bit if I wanted to mix it up. And then, I think I got to throw Piercy in. I think Piercy is a guy that's played here a ton. He's played well here. His coach is here. He spends a ton of time here. This is,
I like Lebioda also, Florida State grad.
I like Hank. I think this could be, he could keep this thing rolling. He's a flashy player. He does a lot of really good things.
He does. And when he gets hot, he goes on like those birdie streaks. He played well. He had a couple, 4 or 5 back-to-back great tournaments last year. Before like the end of the year, he kind of fell off a little bit the last couple. But I think in this price range, he definitely gives you a guy that can finish in the top 10, at least top 20. So really, when I play guys in the 6,000s, that's really all I look for, because I know a guy like Lahiri, Straka, Putnam, Ryder. These are guys that probably don't have a chance to finish in the top 20. I can see even like a Brian Stewart finishing in the top 20.
Yep.
If he gets hot. Wallace, not consistent enough for me. Jimmy Walker, I don't even really look at. But yeah, maybe the Postman. The Postman plays good in the West Coast, so maybe he could have a nice tournament. Doc Redman. Doc Redman seems to always have one good round at every tournament, but he just cannot put it together. It almost seems like this golf game is hard, and it's hard to play good for 4 rounds. So you just have to look for a guy that can play good for 4 rounds. And a lot of these guys, I just don't see it. That's why when you get a guy like, Brendan Todd, how is he going to do this season?
Yeah.
Last season was kind of a disappointment after a 2019 where, he pretty much set everything on fire. Harry Higgs, I think Harry Higgs is becoming a more consistent golfer. He seems like he's improving. He's taken those, I know he's hanging out with Phil Mickelson a lot, so maybe he's picking stuff up from Phil. So Higgs, Sabatini, I see he's wearing that Olympic silver medal everywhere. He's been playing, pretty good lately. So I might actually take a look at Sabatini at this level too. So there's a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of guys you can pick up in this level, and you're getting really good quality golfers for the 6,000s. I mean, the names in the 6,000s for this tournament are a lot better than you're going to find at most.
Oh yeah, I agree. Totally agree. It's a good feel. I mean, it's a good tournament. There's a lot. There's certain. I like the top end way more than I like the 9,000s. There's a couple guys in the 8s that I'll certainly go at, but I think I'll be spending a lot of time in the 7s, and then sprinkling a few more guys than normal from the 6s. So I'll probably go top heavy with some 7s and 6s underneath this week, in the way that it's panning out. So yeah, first of 2 in Las Vegas. We'll see how it goes, but we'll come back again next week, and we'll do it again.
I had a question for you. I think I saw a few weeks ago you tweeted that you shot like a 62 or something like that. 63?
I shot 63 at Coeur d'Alene Resort. Yeah, with a
That's
bogey
tough
on
course.
2. Huh?
At the
No.
tough course too. No.
No, it's not that hard. No,
So anybody
it's
can
pretty
shoot a
straightforward. I
63?
mean, it's a resort course. There's a couple tough holes, but I mean, that's like the best run I've played since college.
So what's the course record there?
61. I didn't tip it out though. I was kind of up. I was up a little.
So you're not bad at golf, is what you're saying, right?
I mean, I've actually been playing pretty good of late.
And I heard you give a few lessons too.
Yeah. That's my trade, is teaching for years, but not as much anymore, but I still teaching 3 days a week with all the media stuff. But yeah, I've been playing the last month or two. My putter's been good.
Yeah.
Really good. So
yeah. I mean,
that's why.
You know, that's the About Golf studio that you is that in like the West Coast?
About Golf is well, their headquarters, they have a couple different spots, primarily in Ohio, but I have a full studio being built here in Ponte Vedra, and it'll have a About Golf simulator in it.
Then I'll have to come up there, and you'll have to give me private lessons.
Yep.
And that,
come on up to Ponte Vedra. You're not far.
That would be nice to do an episode in there. You know,
yeah, I'll get the studio set up. Probably be December-ish, you know, somewhere in there, and then we'll have it. It's going to be like state of the art, next level. Not messing around here. I might create it. I might create like a Vegas style situation in there.
Just remember this show when you make it big, all right? When you're too famous for us, you know.
Absolutely. You're always welcome on the show. Shit, you're coming back next week.
Who else could you have for Vegas, really? You know.
I need a professional craps player.
How about
Vegas.
next week? Next week, how about I'll give 2 football picks out on the show. That would be pretty good, huh?
That sounds good. We'll kick off with the two. We'll kick off with the 2 picks.
So sounds good. Maybe a World Series pick too. So you never know.
All right.
So
we'll wait for it.
Thanks for having me
on.
All
right, buddy. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Tomorrow we have let's see. Lucas Herbert is on the podcast.
Nice.
Tomorrow with Froggy. He missed the cut the first 2 weeks, Fortinet and Sanderson Farms. So maybe I didn't hop on there and give him a lesson or something. Get him ready to go. All right.
Sounds
we'll see you
good.
next week. Beatin the Bookie.
All right. See ya.